Hello everybody, welcome to your third snow day in a row. We need to keep moving though, you guys are doing awesome. And even though I don't get to see you, you get to see me. So thank you for watching this video to hopefully help you do your math lesson. So what I'd like to do is take page 146. You can go ahead and get your book. If you don't have your book still, then I will post the page on Ngrade so that you can go ahead and print it out. Let's take this one. It's a little bit of a difficult one, but it'll help you with some of the other problems. And maybe you did one of them yesterday. So let's see. Number 9 is a little tricky because it uses decimals. So Kate makes 4 liters of tea, a pot full. She needs 5 jars for the tea. From this, we get the rate of 4 liters for 5 jars. 4 liters of tea. So this is liters of tea. She has 4. And then she has 5 jars, okay? So fill in the table. The variable t stands for the amount of tea, and the j for the number of jars. All right, so we're going to take all of these. These are all going to be equivalent fractions, basically, to 4/5. So to get down to 1, remember we did this kind of mess, and maybe this helps you, maybe it confuses you. But how do I go from 5 down to 1? I divide by 5. And so to get this top number, an equivalent fraction, I'd go 4 divided by 5. 4 divided by 5 is 4/5. So if she had 4/5 of liters of tea, then she would only need 1 jar. And I'm going to tell you right now, we should know this, that 4/5 is the same as what decimal, because I'd rather work with decimals than fractions. So I can say this, put this with a denominator of 10. 5 times 2 is 10, so 4 times 2 is 8. This 4/5 is the same as 0.8. I'll just put it really close on top. I hope you can see it. So if 1 jar is 0.8 of a liter, then how many would 2 jars be? Well, I just go 0.8 times 2, or 0.8 plus 0.8 is going to give me 1.6. And I'm going to keep going up. So 3 times the 0.8 would give me 2.4. And I will just help you fill the rest of this in. 3.2. And then we can keep going, 4.8. And 5.6, 6.4, 7.2, and 8. So this makes sense because if she had this 4 liters of tea took 5 jars, if she doubles that and she has 8 liters of tea, then she's going to have to double the number of jars as well. All of these are equivalent fractions, and you could figure them out if you wanted to. So we did the kind of the hard part. Now we're going to plot the number pairs from the table in this coordinate grid, which we haven't done too much lately of. So notice on her grid that she has printed out, she puts the J on this axis and the T on the bottom. Now, she could have chosen to do it the other way, but we need to make sure. And in fact, in the answer, she flipped them. So when I have, let me pick easy numbers here. I like this one right here. I'm going to plot that point. So when t is 4, and t is along the bottom, when t is 4, then j is 5. So I'm going to plot that point, and you can go ahead and do that too. And let me plot this one too, because it's easy. So when t is 8, so I'm over here, then j is 10. And so those 2 points are plotted. And let me see, let's just go ahead and do this guy. When t is 4/5, and we have to estimate, so 4/5, then j is 1. And this winds up being, if you have a nice graph and graph paper, it will be a straight line going through the points, okay? So on your paper, these should all be a straight line. And you could plot these decimal numbers as well. And I guess that's what she says to do. So go ahead and do that. Now see, how many jars will Kate need for 20 liters of tea? So 20 liters of tea. So basically, I would want a 20 on the top because here's liters of tea. So this is my tea. And then the question is, how many jars would I need? Well, I can still do equivalent fractions. And this 20 over question mark has to be the same as 4 over 5 because I had 4 liters of tea for 5 jars. So how many would 20 jars need? Well, 4 times 5 is 20, and 5 times 5 would be 25. So the answer is 25. Now, you might have a question of why I chose using the 4/5. Well, I noticed that 4 goes into 20 evenly, and so that makes it a little bit easier to do. This one, 8/10 would still work, but it's not as easy. So this is like a puzzle that you need to put together, all right? So then D, if Kate has 16 jars full of tea, how many liters of tea are in them? So she has 16 jars. So jars are on the bottom. I don't have 16. I could take this one here and multiply it by 16 because to get 16 on the bottom, 16 jars of tea, what do I put on the top? T is a question mark. So I could go 1 times 16 to get that, and then 4/5 times 16, but that doesn't really sound like fun to me. I could use this 4 because 4 times 4 is 16, and I would multiply 3.2 by 4. We could do that, but I don't want to do that. What I want to do is if I know that there's 8, if I have 10 jars of tea, I have 8 liters. 8 liters for 10 jars of tea. Now I can add this number to it because I can go 8 liters of tea plus this 4.8 because this is for 6 jars. And 10 plus 6 equals 16. I can add these two together, and that's what the last one told you. So there's many ways you can do this, and so 8 plus 4.8 is going to give me 12.8 jars. Jars full of tea, how many liters are in them? No, it's not jars, it is liters of tea. Liters of tea, because this is liters of tea. So stay tuned for the next page.